Always good to get Rob Rains on show from stlouissportspage.com, STLsportspage.com. He covers the Cardinals and talks about the Cardinals. Highly unfortunate, Rob, last night for me as a Pirate fan to watch the Cardinals tattoo Helen Keller, who's been having a terrific season for the Pirates. But the Cardinals meant business. They've been hot. They've won 7 of 10. They're finally scoring some runs. What did you think of last night? Gorman and company lighting up Keller.
Yeah, it was a big game, a big swing for Gorman. He just had a horrible month of June. He had 141 for the month, and had some home runs early in the month, but then had really scuffled the last 3 weeks, striking out 40-something% of his at bats. So if they could get him going, along with some of the other guys who have played well to this point, and they got 2 big surprises in Burleson and Ciani, and then of course Mason Wynn has played really well at shortstop. But the main 2 anchors, Arenado and Goldschmidt, still haven't got it going either. But they're season high 4 games over 500 now, and are playing much better. But if they could get Gorman's bat going, that would just help the cause all the way around.
17 now for Gorman. What about tonight? They've got Mikolas going against this young kid, Jared Jones from Whittier, California. He's got some nasty stuff, the kid, but they already beat Keller. Now they face the next tough one, and we all know what they got now in the 3-headed monster with Skeens. What do you think of Mikolas tonight at PNC?
He had a bad game. His last start was one of the worst starts of his career, so he's trying to bounce back from that. And they have not seen Jones, so it'll be a new experience for them. He did not pitch in the series in St. Louis earlier this year. They did see Skeens in that series, but they'll miss him in this go-around. But Cardinals traditionally don't do real well against a guy they haven't seen before, so we'll see how that works out. But Mikolas is due for a rebound after a very bad start a week ago.
So how do you like the lineup now? Wynn, Burleson, Contreras, Goldschmidt, then Donovan Arenado, Crawford, Gorman, and I think Ciani. How do you like the way they're lining up every day and going out and playing?
I think they're doing a lot better than they did earlier. I mean, as I say, the Burleson has been a big surprise to them. He's got 13 home runs, and I don't think, coming into the camp in spring training, if there had not been a couple of injuries to guys right as camp broke, I don't know that he would have made the ball club. So, he kind of was going to be the odd guy out after they signed Brandon Crawford as a free agent late, but he's made most of the opportunity he's had to play. And, the lineup's going to be interesting because they're about 3 or 4 days away probably from getting Lars Nootbaar back. He's on a rehab assignment, finishing that up in AA Springfield the next few days. I think you might see him by the weekend in D.C., and then they're probably 2 to 3 weeks away from getting Tommy Edman able to play for the first time this year. So roster spots are going to get kind of tight here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they number one, fill up the roster, then B, how they divide up the playing time.
So they've been playing well at Busch. Now they win in Pittsburgh, trying to do it again the next couple of nights, and then go to a big 4-game series in our nation's capital. They were a couple games, I think, are under 500 on the road. This is important for them, these 2 swings through Pittsburgh and D.C., no?
Yes, definitely. They're in a situation too where you got they're down the stretch run before the All-Star break, and then a couple weeks after that they've got to make some decisions on what they're going to do as far as the trading deadline is concerned. So how they play the next month is going to be a big factor in whether they go out and try to buy another starting pitcher, where they try to bolster the bullpen, if they try to get another bat. I mean, or do they try to sell off a couple of the pieces that they don't see being a fit here for long term? So it's a critical period for them to try to not only get closer to the Brewers, but at least solidify their spot in the wild card race as they trying to make decisions about what they're going to do at that deadline.
And then they got the I-70 series brewing again with the Royals, and those are at Busch, those 2 games.
Yeah, then they'll go to Kansas City in August. So yeah, those are always fun games, no matter what the standings say. But this year, you got the Royals playing a lot better than maybe people expected them to play too. So there's no really easy part of the schedule. One of the things about the Cardinals, which is interesting, and we've seen it time and time again, is they have a tendency to play to the level of the competition. If they're playing a team like Miami or Colorado, they sometimes struggle more than if they're playing a team like Atlanta or the Phillies. So it's interesting to see, and I don't really have an answer for that. But it's so some of these games that you would automatically say, well, they should win those games. or kind of struggle sometimes. So they still have, even though their bats have been a little better lately, they still have, a lot of games where they score 2, 3, 4 runs, and they still, for whatever reason, have a way to make even a game that should be a blowout game a tight game. I mean, Helsley's got 31 saves for a reason, because they play a lot of 1 and 2 run games. So they've got to try to figure out a way to win some games so they aren't quite so nerve wracking.
Sonny Gray's been a nice addition in St. Louis, no doubt. He's the only guy under 3, right, with an ERA under?
Yeah, he's pitched really well. He didn't pitch as well in his last start, of course, but he had a perfect game into the 7th inning in his last game. I think the 3 of them that they signed, the free agent starters, Gray, Kyle Gibson, and Lance Lynn, have really given them exactly what they wanted over the course of this season when they got them in here last winter and bolstered the starting pitching, combined with the bullpen being better. I think the question now is the offense. I think the pitching is good enough. If they go out and get one more starting pitcher, that they can be in this race, either the wild card race or the division race. But they've got to get, we said it since day one of this season, the 2 big guys in the all-star players, the MVP caliber players, the potential Hall of Fame players, and the cornerstones of this team is Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, and they really have not played well. I mean, Goldschmidt has gotten better lately, but it's been a struggle for Arenado offensively. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do the rest of the way.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're talking about them almost at the bitter end here, as opposed to the way we used to talk about them right from the jump as the best players on the Cardinals. That's not the case anymore. What about their back end, Helsley and Romero? How do you like their bullpen?
I like the bullpen fine. I mean, I think I would think they have a tendency to be a little bit overworked because they seem to run the same 3 or 4 guys out there every night. But that's, again, alluding to what we just talked about, because every game's such a close game. So they've done a good job, I think, of building Helsley. Perhaps they've made a decision kind of coming into the season that he was not going to pitch more than 1 inning in a game, was not going to pitch more than in a situation when they had a chance to either tie game in extra innings or had a chance to get the save. And they kind of pretty much held true to that, and he's done well, even though he's battled the control of his fastball in the last month or so, which 102 miles an hour, you got to be able to know where that thing's going to be effective. So he's walked more guys than he would like to walk, but I still think he's been the most effective closer in the league. He's got a realistic shot. I think it happened the all-time record for most saves before the All-Star break. It's 38. He's at 31 now with 12 games to go. In the Cardinals had 12 games left before the break, so it'll be interesting to see if they can pull that off.